Welcome to another episode of Jim's Allotment Garden. Okay, quick update on the chickens. The chickens need food. I'm getting about 6 eggs a day at the moment, so they are doing really well. And they're most certainly going through the food quick. I actually filled that halfway up yesterday, so they've eaten half of a feeder. As you can see, the chickens are doing really well. A couple of the cream leg bars, that one there, I don't know if you can see, she's got a bit of a bald patch on her back. That's basically the cockerels doing that. So you know, there's nothing wrong with them. I have checked them all over for mice and stuff like that, and there's nothing on them. But they've all been dusted down and everything. But basically the cockerel's doing that too on that one. But he doesn't seem to be doing it to the others as much. And I've had 6 more. These are high line chicks. These are 12 weeks old. I got these early in the week. As you can see, they're settling in quite nicely. And obviously, when you introduce chickens into your flock, what you need to do is do what I've done here. I've just got like a little cornered off corner, and this is just a bit of wire. It's important that they can see each other, so they can get to know each other. But obviously, if you keep them separate like this, they can't kind of get through or attack each other. Now, the breeds that I've got are quite gentle breeds anyway. Out of them, I'd say they're probably the Rhode Island Reds are the sort of the bossiest. Now, with obviously they're all hens apart from the cockerel, so you know, the cockerel won't do anything to them, but it's the other hens that'll sort of have a go to get the peck in order. So what I've done is I've introduced them into this little pen here, and they'll stay in there for a week or two until they're used to each other. Then I can take all this back out again, and then they can all mix together, and they'll get on much better that way. If you do just introduce them straight in to the rest of your chickens, particularly if there's only a couple of new ones, they can get picked on and attacked a little bit by the other hens. So I mean, the fact that there was 6 of them in there, you know, I could quite possibly just put all 6 in and just let them get on with it. But you know, to be on the safe side, what I thought I'd do is just put them in this little corner pen, and then let them get used to each other. Then I'll take all this out next week, and then they can get properly introduced then. Okay, so I'll just give you a bit of a tour of the allotment. So in the greenhouse, as you can see, the tomatoes are doing quite well. The one that I replaced here, unfortunately, had that fungus on again. So basically, the bottom about 5 inches of the stalk here just became all sort of fungal, and the plant basically started to die off at the top. So before any of the others got affected, I basically just took it out. So I'm not going to put another one in there now. But as you can see, the tomatoes are developing quite nicely. Starting to get some ripening off. You can see the reasonable size tomato. So these are the Alicante, and to be honest with you, the Alicante really haven't done well this year at all. The sheer amount of tomatoes that I had last year and the year before, grown exactly the same variety, compared to this year, it's not particularly good at all. The plants seem to be quite thin and not very strong at all. There doesn't seem to be any kind of vigour to them at all. But anyway, that's the Alicante. The money makers are pretty much as they are normally. There doesn't seem to be quite as many tomatoes as there are normally. You can see there are sort of plenty of tomatoes on, but I typically get about 4 or 5 lots of tomatoes going up the plant, and this year I seem to be getting sort of 3. As you can see, most of them have basically got 3 fruit trusses on. You know, there's one there, there's one a bit further down, and there's one there. There's 4 on that one, but this one has got 1, 2, 3. That one's got 3, so they're not doing quite as well as they normally do. But I have trimmed the tomatoes down. I've taken off the tops now, as you can see, on a lot of them. But you know, all things being equal, you know, I've done reasonably well. These N2 here are, oh, which ones are these? The small cherry tomatoes, something delight, Gardener's Delight. So they're growing all right as well. But the money makers have done really well. This is the one that I transplanted a couple of weeks ago, and that's really shot up since I put it in. Then it's got some fresh flowers on it as well. So that will most certainly catch up with the others. But that's the greenhouse. The grapevine, as you can see, the grapes are really filling out now, so they're getting pretty big. As you can see, the ones at this end aren't quite as thick, but you know, the most certainly the rain that we've had has really brought it on. The cayenne pepper plant really has kind of gone over now, and I think it's possibly because I left them on a bit too long. What I should have done was harvest these 3, and perhaps it would have grown on, but it's been kept watered. But I don't know, it's just kind of died off really. But anyway, I've got some peppers off that, so that's one thing. This is one of the hardy fuchsias that I grew last year. I'll just put it here just to quickly show you. What I've done this year is, because I want it to develop its roots, what I've done is I've not sort of cut it and sort of got it to bush out yet. All I've done is left it to grow, because all this top growth will be cut back at the end of the year anyway. So I just thought I'd let it grow and flower and sort of develop its roots. So, but that's basically what the fuchsias look like. These are the birdhouse gourd, the late ones that I put in. And what I'm thinking of doing is actually growing these inside the greenhouse, because I think if I grow them outside, they're not going to come to anything this year. But anyway, those are the really late ones that went in. The cucumber plants are doing quite well. This one's growing up there. You can see that one at the back's growing up. This one here has really grown this week. I need to sort of tie this back onto here. And underneath we've still got a couple of cucumbers growing there, but these have been sitting in the water, and I'm basically topping up that water every day with this weather that we're having. I'm not sure what the weather's been like near you, but where are we at the moment? It's 22 degrees inside at the moment, but it has been getting quite warm in the day. But we've had lots and lots of rain, which has brought things on a lot. Obviously, the grapevine root is outside, so obviously any rain that we get feeds that. But you can see the grapes are doing really well. We've got plenty more over here as well. So anyway, that's the greenhouse. Outside, as I say, you know, we've had lots of rain. This is the black hollyhock, which actually turned out to be a white one. There are some black ones in there somewhere, but the ones in the front garden have most certainly black. But anyway, there's another hollyhock at the front here, so hopefully that's going to be one of the black ones. The comfrey's really grown, and it's kind of flopped over with all this rain we've had. But I can harvest this again. The comfrey in the tub here, that's really gone down now. So what I need to do, as you can see, that needs draining off. So I'll put a bottle under there later today and drain that off, like I showed you in previous ones. Over here, this is a plant called Don Pedro, which is a Spanish plant. It comes out with really nice purple flowers. I potted that up the other day, but I'm not quite sure what the Latin name of this is. But if you go on the internet and look for Don Pedro planter, you'll see pictures of it. It's like a purple flower that looks a little bit like the Nicotiana, or the tobacco plant. That's the bush tomato. That's actually one plant, believe it or not. And all I've done is I've just left it to it, because what I wanted to do is see what it looked like if you leave it just to grow on its own. And as you can see, it's formed this massive bush. There are tomatoes in there. You can't see them, but there are in there. I've seen some earlier on. But anyway, that's what a moneymaker looks like if you grow it outside and not trim it back. This is the yacon plant. As you can see, they're almost 6 foot high now. That's grown really well. And over the back there we've got the other bits and bobs, but you can't see them for the weed. The weeds have grown so quickly, it's unreal. This last couple of weeks I have been weeding, but It's unbelievable how quickly stuff grows. And we've got a frog, I don't know if you can see him. There's frogs everywhere up here at the moment. So that's the top end anyway. Oh, he's going in the greenhouse. No, he's not. This is the basil. As you can see, the basil's grown really well. I am starting to get some flowers on some of them. As you can see, I did pull the top out, but I'm getting some flowers on some, so I think I may well harvest some of this before too much longer. But that's the basil bed. The rain's really brought that on as well. The rosemary and the oregano and mint and everything like that have grown as they normally do. Rosemary as well. Right, just coming down here. This is the comfrey that's grown back again. You can see the bees are having the right feast on it, as they always do. This is always covered in bees. When this was just before I cut this down, and it was about a foot or two higher than it is at the moment. The whole thing must have had about 50 or so bees on it, and it was just completely, every time you come past it you could hear them all buzzing away. But you can see from the greenhouse from the outside, you can see all the tomatoes ripening on the inside. What I have been doing, just very quickly to go back, I've been taking off the ripe tomatoes because I don't want them all to ripen now, because I'll be going on holiday in a few weeks' time. So what I've been doing is taking them off as and when they've been ripening. But I'm finding that pretty much every day there's 2 or 3 ripe tomatoes, so I've not taken off any today. But you can see they've basically ripened. There's some in there, I don't know if you can see. But they've ripened over in the last 24 hours or so. Onto the asparagus, as you can see, the berries are starting to turn red now. Just sort of fight my way up here. So these berries will go like a dark red like that, and then they're ready to pick. The raspberries are sending up the shoots for next time, so that I need to tie these back in. You'll see we are still getting raspberries on there. But I need to tie these in before, they're all getting quite overgrown up here at the moment. But that's the raspberries for you. Right, and going up here, this is as you can see, the pears are doing really well. They're growing quite well. Got plenty of pears on. And you can see the size of the raspberries compared to my hand. They are quite big raspberries. This is the birdhouse gourd plant. That's sort of growing everywhere. I need to tie these up. This has grown like this in the past few days, but they're sort of growing everywhere. Going up here to fight my way through the raspberries. Some flowers everywhere. None of them have got any heads on as of yet. What else have we got up here? So that's the Justerberry bush. This is the cherry tree. We've already had the cherries, obviously. And these, believe it or not, this one is actually is supposed to be the ivy gourd plant. There's one there, and there should be one just here somewhere. Can't see it, but for some reason it's come out like a courgette. I noticed that the other day when I was walking up, but I thought I'd leave it growing. It was about that long when I first saw it, but it seems to have grown inside. It looks a bit like a marrow actually. It doesn't look like the ivy gourd that I was expecting. I'm sure where the other plant is. It should be here somewhere, unless it's died. Right, and going along here, this is the apple tree. As you can see, the apples are doing quite nice, and I've got another birdhouse gourd plant growing through here as well. We've got lots of flowers on, but we've not got any little birdhouse gourds as of yet. There has been a couple a bit further down, but in fact there's one there. Look, that's a birdhouse gourd there, just in between my finger if you can see it. But they tend to sort of form and then drop off because of the weather that we've been having. They've not been pollinating properly, and unfortunately they've been falling off. But so I'm just trying to look for that other gourd plant. Doesn't seem to be there. Must have died in the last week or so. Anyway, the strawberries have been doing okay. As you can see, they're throwing out runners, some of them. What I need to do is get in there and try and put them through. I have got some spares on the bench over there to put in, but those are the strawberries. So really this year we haven't really had many strawberries we were talking about, but I'm hoping next year we're going to have a bumper crop. The potatoes, you can see, have all but died down really. I've been in and I've done quite a lot of weeding this week. As you can see, there are plenty of the weeds coming. I've been taking out buckets after buckets of the chickweed, which is this is chickweed here. This stuff here, that's chickweed, called chickweed because it's like the chickens love it. So what I've been doing is pulling out sort of buckets and buckets of that and giving it to the chickens. They've been eating that. They soon demolish chickweed. But I've had a lot of these weeds as well this year, which have been everywhere. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's just starting to rain again. The onions have pretty much gone over now. I'm seriously thinking about taking them up before too much longer. I've weeded these out 3 or 4 times. As you can see, the weeds have grown back again. What I might do, I'm worried about them sitting in water at the moment and sort of rotting the bottom off. So what I might do is lift them and dry them in the next couple of weeks. The parsnips are doing really well. As you can see, they've developed quite well. Some weeds in there again, but they've done really well. Obviously, when you're weeding around parsnips, one tip I can give you is don't pull the weed out, break it off at the ground, because what you don't want to do is disturb the soil where the parsnip is, because that will cause the parsnip to be deformed. But that's the row of parsnips. The sweet peas, we've had lots and lots of sweet peas cut for the house. But what I have found, I'll just show you here, is we've got loads of green fly on them. And to the point where the green fly have actually been eating the flowers as well. I've never known that before. But they've had lots of green fly, and I have sprayed them with some soapy water. But yeah, the sweet peas have done really well this year, but they're almost finished with now, really. Right, in here, this is the first tunnel. So we've got the Petrage kale at the back, which is growing really well. What I will need to do is get in there and tie them back against the stakes before too much longer, because they're getting to the point now where they're starting to fall over. And in front of them here we've got the Scottish kale. The spinach beet, as you can see, has run to seed a bit. And this hasn't been due to water, this has been due to the hot temperature that we've had this year. This is the flower sprouts at the back, this sort of purple vein one. None of the actual little sprouts have formed yet, but as you can see I've got a bit of white fly on there. I have been spraying with soapy water, but you can see the white fly on the back there. You know, I mean, they're still growing okay, even with the white fly. That's where the rest of the calabrese went. Now, what I have had a problem with are caterpillars. Let me just put this back on here and I'll show you. I've had caterpillars come in. Just see them now. How they've actually got in here? There's one there. Look, there's the caterpillars, and they've come in on. Obviously, butterflies have got in here somehow. I'm not quite sure how. And they're also in the other tunnel as well, and they've been eating away at the leaves, unfortunately. What I've been doing is coming in and just basically taking the caterpillars off. So, like there's one there. Look, just take the caterpillar off with your finger. And just squeeze it to stop it in its tracks, like. But yeah, that's the most effective or the most organic way of dealing with caterpillars. Unfortunately, it's not the nicest thing to do, but you know, you just need to look around to see if you can see any caterpillars on. I mean, that one there has basically been stripped down to a stalk, and there's just one fat caterpillar somewhere. But yeah, unfortunately, the caterpillars have nobbled them. They will recover as long as you can get the caterpillars off. Like that one there. As long as you can get the caterpillars off, you can, you know, you can expect the plants to recover. But obviously, it'll knock them back a little bit. But I've just been coming up and checking to see if I could see any caterpillars and just taking them off like that. So this spinach, I have still been picking it. I got quite a lot off this week. But there's really, as soon as it starts to go, you can't stop it from bolting, really. But this is the second lot here. I'll show you the third lot in a moment, but that's the first lot that I grew. That was out of the modules. This was also out of the modules, and that's also bolted. And they've all been kept constantly watered. But before we move on, I just want to quickly show you, because you can see through the net here. You can see the pumpkins, there's one there. There's also one at the top there. There's a smaller one here. What I will do is I'll take you down there in a moment and I'll show you the others. But as you can see, there's two. They're bright yellow at the moment, but they will turn sort of more of an orangey colour as you get a bit older. But that's the first tunnel. Okay, moving on. Just go down here so you can see the rest of the pumpkins. So these first few here are the courgettes. As you can see, there's plenty of courgettes growing in there, and on this side as well. I've been picking quite a few this week to eat, and the chickens have also been having quite a few. But there's a nice big one there that the chickens can have. But we're not short of courgettes, that's for sure. Right, it is raining, so I'm getting my legs soaked at the moment. That's another. And that's the last courgette plant there. There's just one courgette on there. Right, so just down here you can see there's another courgette there. Look, you can see the top of it. Right, I'll just go through here. Right, on this side here, I've got one pumpkin growing there. Look, this is a nice sized one. Probably about 5 or 6 kilos. And then here, that's one just there. Growing there, and then the small one's just there, and then if I go along here a little bit further and try not to step on anything, that's the other one there. So I've got three good sized pumpkins, which is all I need really. I haven't got any grown over here, but this one here is actually growing into the beans, so I think I might well end up with a pumpkin somewhere in the beans over there, because there's most certainly little fruits on it. These are the butternut squashes. There's plenty of butternut squashes on, as you can see. There's one there, and there's one just over there somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, look, there's one there, and there's one through there as well. And if you can see, these plants are so easily damaged, but there's one just there. So those are the butternut squashes, and they're actually growing into the rhubarb as well, so there's bound to be further fruits over here. But I've not seen any other pumpkins, but I've definitely got 3 big ones, which there may well be some more under here. But this rain that we've been having over the past couple of weeks, it's really brought the gourds on. Oh, actually there's one there, look. So the thing is, they grow that quickly. You can come up one day and not see something, and the next day there's something the size of a football there. Right, just sort of go through. Now in hindsight, what I would have done was made that a bit wider, because they've grown that mad. I mean, they're growing up the tunnel as well. So I think next year I'll give these a bit more room than they've actually got at the moment. But you can see there's little. That's actually a pumpkin there as well, and there's another small one a bit further on here. And there's one down there as well. So, right, the rhubarb's come back again, as you can see. There's something attacking it. I'm not quite sure what. I've not had the rhubarb leaves eaten before, and obviously rhubarb leaves are poisonous. So I'm not quite sure what's eating them, but something's having a go. I'm not finding any caterpillars on them, but I'm not sure if they're going to live very long doing that. Right, this is the second tunnel. Right, so in here we've got the rest of the Calabrese, and as you can see, these have also been nobbled a bit by. These are actually healthier plants than the other one, but these have also been nobbled by caterpillars a little bit. I have been in a couple of times and just checked over the plant to see if I could see any caterpillars. I can't see any on at the moment. I've also got a bit of white fly in here. Oh, there's one. I've also got some white fly in here as well, unfortunately, but they're not doing too badly in here. It's a shame when you get caterpillars on. Now, how the butterflies have got in here, I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. But and you can come up here and one day you can't see any caterpillars at all, and the next day you come up and you can see about 20. So they must be very good at hiding. And there's one there as well. So those are the Calabrese in this tunnel. So this is the third lot of spinach. As you can see, none of this is bolted yet. We've got the beetroot in front. The beetroot's not done too badly. Obviously those were attacked by slugs when I first put them in. but the spinach at the back just is starting to come through quite nicely. So the row isn't complete, there's sort of spaces in there, but all being well, I'll be able to harvest some of those. And then we've got the Swedes, this row of Swedes here. Obviously they've not started to fully develop yet, but there's a row of Swede here which are coming on, but they've not started to kind of swell or anything yet. Right, so that's the second tunnel. Right, just moving around here, sorry about the wind. So we've got the calendulas all the way along the bottom here, and these are the sunflowers now, about sort of 5 foot high. And the calendulas have, well, I think we've seen the best of the calendulas now. A lot of these have kind of run to seed. Now I did start taking, because what you can do is extend the season by taking off the seed pods like that and just throwing them back on the ground, but I did start doing that, but they were just developing that quickly. You know, by the time I'd pulled a load off, there was another load the following day. These are the sunflowers. As you can see, this one's actually open now, which is doing really well. The others are starting to form heads. There's one there. Obviously these here are also forming heads. But the sunflowers have not been anywhere near as good as they normally are, to be fair. I think that's just because of the dry weather we've had. Mind you saying that, they have been watered. Now, the runner beans, as you can see, are doing really well. There's loads and loads of runner beans. I will be up later on today to pick some more. I've already frozen about 20 kilos, but I need to come up and pick all these others that have formed in the past few days. And all I do basically is take the top off and the bottom off, and then chop them up into sort of 1/2 inch lengths. Put them into boiling water and boil them for bring them back up to the boil for about a minute, and then put them straight into some cold water, cool them straight down, because you don't want them to cook, you just want to blanch them basically. And then as soon as you've done that, bag them up into 1 kilo bags or however much you need in one go, and then put them in the freezer, and then they'll keep in the freezer for 12 months or more. But as you can see, there's loads of beans, so I need to get up here and check all those out. Right, coming up here, there's a lot more beans than I thought there were, a lot more than a couple of days ago when I come and had a look. That's the other side of the onions, but as you can see, they've all kind of fallen over now, so I think I might as well pull them out really. Some of these potatoes at the bottom end here are still kind of growing a bit, but I don't think the potatoes are going to get much bigger. Now there's quite a few people around me that have dug their potatoes up already, and they haven't really had a good crop at all, so I'm not expecting to get a brilliant crop this year, just because of the weather we've been having really. But I'll dig some up and I'll show you either in the next episode or the episode after that how the potatoes have come on. But you've already seen this, but this is the other side of the raspberries and that. And these are the climbing beans, as you can see. There's loads of these coming as well, so I need to do another pick of these. I've been picking beans pretty much every other day, and you know, and they'll go from something that big like that up into something that big in the space of a day or two. So you know, you really do need to stay on top of them before, you know, because if they go too big, obviously they become sort of quite tough and not particularly nice to eat. So that's the other side of the beans, and that's what the main allotment looks like at the moment. I'll just show you the other greenhouse. So in here what we've got, this is the grafted cucumber. Now this has gone a little bit yellow in the past few days, but it's not too bad, but there's no more fruits forming on it, unfortunately. This one here has started to grow again. This is the one that got unfortunately cut, snapped off. So that's starting to grow, so I'm hoping to get, as you can see, some little fruits forming on there, so I'm hoping to get some cucumbers off there. And then what we've got here, these are the, let's start here, these are the sweet peppers. As you can see, they're starting to form now. These are jalapenos here. That's another sweet pepper plant. As you can see, that must be a green one. The pale ones like that, they'll actually turn yellow or red. And these are the other jalapenos here. As you can see, they're forming quite nicely. And there's sort of 3 or 4 on there which we'll be able to harvest before too much longer. And these ones here are all in flower and growing quite nice as well. So that's the rest of the other greenhouse. But you know, that's a pepper plant there as well. But we've not got any flowers or anything on there yet. But it looks like we're going to have some peppers off this one. Now I've grown peppers quite a few times, and I've never really got brilliant results, to be honest with you. I typically get 2 or 3 peppers off each plant, and when you consider how cheap they are to buy in the shops, it's hardly worth growing, I think, sweet peppers, but I thought I'd give it a go this year. But the jalapenos are always worth growing because you always get loads of them off a plant. But anyway, that's what the second greenhouse looks like. So, I hope this episode was of some use to you. Please don't hesitate to put any comments or questions you've got below, and I'll always get back to you. And I'll see you on the next episode of Jim's Love Garden.